Hey, good morning, you guys. My name is Gwendolyn or Miss Gwendolyn Miller, and I am here to just share a little bit of my quiet times that I've been having over the last several months. My ministry is called Love Abundantly Ministry, and through the ministry, I teach basically what it means to be loved by God, how to overcome roadblocks that's blocking us from growing deeper in love with God, and really accepting ourselves the way God has accepted us, right? One of the main things that I think is blocking us from growing deeper in love with God is our thought process. Now, if you know me, you know that I'm a licensed professional counselor in Tennessee, and I'm a pastoral counselor. So in my practice, I merge the Bible with CBT, with DBT, mindfulness practices. I even wrote a book called Healing Inside Out, Outside In, which you can find on Amazon, that's talking about how to merge mindfulness practices with the scriptures to help you through healing. Now, in the book, I give you guidelines on how to merge scriptures with mindfulness. But right now, I want to talk more about your thought process. Like in Romans 12, it says, be renewed by the transformation of your mind. Then you can test and approve what God's will is, his good and perfect will. So being renewed by the transformation of your mind, then you can test and approve what God's will is, his good and perfect will. Now, here's the thing. Sometimes we're so used to what we're used to thinking. We can normalize unhealthy thought patterns, but we're so used to having this consistent frame of thought pattern that is habitual, that we get comfortable with. So now it's about really being able to assess, okay, how is this thought pattern affecting me? What have I been believing that is not the truth about me? You guys, if we do not know the scriptures, then we don't know really accurately how God sees us, because we can create truths that's lies in our minds. That's totally opposite of what God has said about you. Jesus says in John 14, I'm going to read you guys. It's an NLT version. John 14 in verse 1. Don't let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God. Trust also in me. There is more than enough room in my Father's home. If this were not so, would I have told you that I am going to prepare a place for you? When everything is ready, I will come back and get you, so that you will always be with me where I am. And you know the way to where I am going. No, we don't know, Lord, Thomas said. We have no idea where you are going, so how can we know the way? Jesus told him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one can come to the Father except through me. If you had really known me, you would know who my Father is. From now on, you do know him and have seen him. Jesus says, I am the way, I am the truth, and I am the life. He is not a truth. He is not a way. He is not a life. He is the life. He is the truth. He is the way. Sometimes we can divert this and try to morph it into what we want it to be. We can, and the world now is like post-truth, right? There's questions about what is the truth, and philosophical questions. Like even when Pilate was crucifying him, he said, what is the truth? It's a philosophical thing. Jesus is saying, I am the truth. So anything that's in my mind that's opposite of what God has said about me, that is not the truth. So in order for me to know what is the truth, I have to read the Word of God. I have to memorize the Word of God. I have to have it stapled in my mind and my heart, so that when Satan, or even with my own thoughts, with my own ways of viewing the world, tries to lead me in ways that's opposite of God, I can be aware of it and bring to mind the scriptures to help me align my life with God. with what God has seen, what he has called me to do. Because you guys, our thought life is where Satan plays it. It's the battlefield, like Joyce Meyer said, the battlefield of the mind. Our mind, our thought life is where the battlefield is. So in order for us to be transformed, to become more like the people that God is calling us to be, we have to take captive of those thoughts. First, in order for us to take captive of them, we have to be aware of how those thought patterns are affecting us. Paul wouldn't tell us in Corinthians, in 2 Corinthians 10, to take captive of something that we don't have the ability to do. You guys, we are all in control of our thoughts. I know sometimes we don't think that we are. And I know I've struggled with that myself. I've had times when I thought that my thoughts are just my thoughts and they just have to keep running. That's a lie from Satan, y'all. Because he knows that if we allow our minds to continue on the way that we're going, then our hearts and our bodies will follow. Jesus says sin starts in our minds, our thought life. So if we are allowing our thought life to lead us in our behavior, in our emotions, and we just keep flowing in that way, then Satan has mastered us through that way. Here's the thing. We are called to master our emotions. We're called to master our thoughts. We're called to master our flesh. Paul says everything is permissible but not beneficial. We're called to master these things. But here's the thing. When we allow the Bible to be used as the sword that it is, it helps us to fight back those things, the lies that we're telling ourselves. It helps us to really be aware of the power that's in us by living according to his word. Y'all, I am so grateful that God is allowing us calling us back to remember what is the truth. He is the truth. To remember that our lives belong to him. We were created by him. We don't belong to ourselves. He's calling us back to him. Thank you guys for joining in with me. Those who clicked on and wanted to know what I'm talking about, follow me on TikTok, follow me on Facebook, follow me. Because through the ministry, Love Abundantly Ministry, I'm going to be sharing with you ways to overcome roadblocks that's blocking us from connecting with love for God. Because a lot of people, a lot of us need healing. And the beginning of that healing is love. Y'all, in my practice, I've learned how much lacking love, lacking the understanding of how deeply you are loved, blocks us from healing. Blocks us from healing. So I want to encourage you to go and listen to my podcast, Abundantly Love Podcast, so you can see who I am. You can see the first roadblock is mistrust. Walk with me in it. Listen to it. It's on Spotify. It's on wherever you hear podcasts. Comment to me. Let me know what you're thinking so that I can walk with you where you are. Like I said before, I'm a pastoral counselor. I've been a disciple of Jesus for 27 years, and he has taught me through my own healing process what it looks like to walk with others in theirs. So join me on this walk. Remember, Jesus is the truth. He is the way. He is the life. He is love. And as we want healing in our lives, y'all, we got to wrap our minds around where true healing comes from. It comes from God. Check out my book, Healing Inside Out, Outside In. It's on Amazon. It's under Gwendolyn Miller, Healing Inside Out, Outside In. So you can get more training on mindfulness, merging it with scriptures, and I'll be talking more about that as time goes on, y'all. Love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I am I'm really grateful for you. All right, I have to go to work now. Peace.